Hi everyone. Welcome back to DM Druggies Matter, my pot smokers Bible program that discusses the reasons why the war on drugs is wrong and should be done away with. Why it harms society more than the use of drugs does. Why it doesn't make sense. Now, I put together, just jotted down a few reasons why the war on drugs is wrong. This could be my opinion, but I do believe if you look into my feed, I actually use facts once in a while. Things you could look up and verify is true. And today, we're going to be talking about the divisions of society and how the war on drugs has made that worse. Now, when the war on drugs was created, it literally, in one swipe of a pen, created an entire minority group within the general population, drug users. Now, these drug users were treated in a Jim Crow fashion. We were not enslaved until the for profit prison system took hold, at which point we pretty much became slaves. We were sold into slavery by the state, into the privately owned prisons that ran factories for profit. Free labor. Let me see. When I was in prison, I lived on state pay. That which my job provided for me. $48 a month. Now, with that $48, I had to buy snacks, shampoo, soap, deodorant, any toiletries that I needed. You know, anything. Clothing, if I wanted something that wasn't prison reg. It was a miserable life. And I didn't ask for people to send me money because I put myself in prison. I did it to prove a point that I was being oppressed, that my rights were being violated, and that I was made separate from the rest of society because of my drug use. All of which proved to be true. Now, when the war on drugs started, it just literally made criminals out of anybody who possessed, sold, or did the drug, whatever drug was in question. So that simply by possessing that drug or having it in your vicinity at the time of your searching, you would be forced into a form of slavery because you would be railroaded through the justice, the unjust system, where the judge just said, okay, where's the evidence? And the prosecutor said, well, on this date, the cops went to their house and they searched with this warrant and they found blah, 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 blah. Off you go to prison for however many ungodly fucking amount of time you get for having a good time with something that you bought with your own money in the privacy in your own private affairs. In my case, it was even worse. I was a priestess of a religious temple. My temple was invaded. I was separated even from my religious freedom because I smoked pot. Because as a priest of Zion, priestess, if you will, of Zion, it was my duty to sacrifice my freedom for my people's sake in order to teach them their truth, their God given truth. And for that, I went to prison for 2 years because my drug use separated me from my rights as a citizen of the United States of America. Every person on the jury in my trial found me guilty, totally disregarded my religious freedom, my right to worship, my right to serve God. Why? Because it was a drug-related charge, and the law states that if you do drugs, you're guilty. If you possess drugs, you're guilty. If you're known to sell drugs, you're guilty. Even above all else, I was separated from my rights as a citizen of the United States, made a separate and unique people that were just open game for the cops and for society, the scapegoats. Oh, society sucks. There's such a terrible problem because there's drug use. We have to put them in little rehab facilities and brainwash them into believing that what they're doing is a disease. Another episode. Point being that the moment a person chooses to do drugs, they are divided from the rest of society, no matter their background, no matter their family affiliations. Think of all of the rock stars, heiresses, heirs that do drugs, go to rehab, make commercials about how it's bad to do drugs. Separating us from society for no better reason than that we do drugs. And it has caused an unending amount of suffering for my people. We are ostracized at every turn. We're ostracized in our religious organizations. We are ostracized in our political organizations. We are ostracized in our business affiliations. We are ostracized in our schools. They teach our children to turn us in as drug users so that they can be forced to go live with relatives or strangers who are taught by the state to brainwash the children against their parents. And don't tell me that it's bullshit, because I went to those classes. I was taught how I was supposed to tell those kids, oh, your parents are so terrible because they do drugs. Here, let me take you away from that terrible household where they loved you, nurtured you, gave you the ability to live. Where is the honor thy mother and father in that? But because we do drugs, that doesn't matter. Really? Obviously, I'm not an American citizen. I'm a them. Because if I was an American citizen, I never would have gone to prison for operating a religious establishment that was openly declared religious. Oh, but I didn't have paperwork to go with it, they claimed. Where was I supposed to get this paperwork? I was supposed to go to what department of the government was I supposed to go to sign up to be a religious temple dedicated to the premise that marijuana is the tree of life and that its use created priests of drug users? To what religious organization was I supposed to turn to be given the right to exist when the premise of my religion is that all of our so called religions were misconstrued political organizations run by aliens from another planet? Where was I supposed to sign up for this, people? There was no place to sign up because there's no place on this earth to sign up for that. I had authority to do what I was doing. It came from this book right here that my friend gifted me in prison. This is my authority. This is my paperwork. And this was the evidence that I used in a court of law to justify my use of drugs, my possession of drugs, my distribution, my possible distribution of drugs within the community of the priesthood of Zion, of which the temple was the central religious establishment. Division of society by laws. With the stroke of a pen, they made me and everybody like me a criminal, separated from society, stripped of our rights, hunted down like prey in a game of cops versus druggies, where there's no justice in a court of law because there's no defense allowed. Believe me, I tried. I read a 16-page testimonial from the prophet Isaiah from this Bible. Or, well, not this one. It was the one I had before this. But it was the same copy. And it was totally disregarded in a court of law. Because my constitutional right to freedom of religion, which was what I was arguing in this court of law, didn't matter. Because I was a drug user. Because I had drugs in my possession. Therefore, I was guilty, and off to prison I fucking went. This Bible, or this book, is not justification for anything if it's not justification for my beliefs, when my beliefs are based on this document. You want proof? Right here it is. And this book doesn't just justify my use of religion, of marijuana and other drugs. It upholds the rights of every drug user on the planet. That's what it was written for. So divide us if you want to. Try. Because what you've done is sealed your own fate. Because my people would have never become a people if the laws opposing drug use had never been passed. So, the United States government created a problem called the war on drugs. It was foretold in this book. And this book justifies me and my people, not the United States government. The United States government never had the right to create laws against us. So they're going to get what they deserve. Justice. Divide and conquer. You divided us, and now we're going to conquer you. With truth. Because, the Grey are here for us, not you. So may the Grey watch over us, guide us, protect us, and keep us from harm. May you be worthy of them. May your thoughts, words, and deeds reflect truth, good, and light the unicorn way. Find your joy and pursue it, and make that your guild choice when we get to Camp Zion. If you use drugs, stay happy and high. You have every right and reason to. Believe me, I know. I wrote the books. My name is Zion. I'll never say goodbye. later.